Hello, everyone. I'm Carly, and I read 51 books in the year 2025.
51 books? Mm-hmm. I'm Sam, and I probably won't be reading 51 books in the year of 2026.
That's okay. Either's fine. And welcome to Read Receipts with Carly and Sam, our book-based podcast covering all the latest hits and some stories off the beaten path.
With a few fun and exclusive episodes mixed in between.
Like this one.
Welcome to the very first off-the-shelf episode of 2026.
Guys,
the air horn makes its return.
Yeah, we knew you missed it. You were like, God, it's been so long.
Air horn.
The air horn. I know they did it last episode, but before that, I don't even know.
It's a special treat just for you guys.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I feel like I do remember in the trailer episode maybe being like, you can expect air horn. Or at least in my mind, I was like, air horn's going to come up. I love air horn.
We'll do air horn a lot, but really we haven't. It's a very exclusive thing.
Yeah, so
maybe in 2026, guys. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe 2026, year of air horn. Add that to the vision board.
Maybe. Ooh, vision board, you say?
Mm-hmm. Speaking of vision board, think of this as our recap
and vision board
episode of 2025 and 2026. Not only will we be looking back at our reads from the past year on the podcast, but also we are going to be looking forward to what we hope to accomplish and look forward to for the pod in 2026.
It's a 2025 reviews and 2026 predictions podcast episode. Perfect for the first off-the-shelf episode of the new year.
Yes. So naturally, what we're going to start with, we need to do out with the old. So let's start with ranking our reads from 2025. So what we're going to be doing is that we are going to be doing kind of like a tier list if you've seen those online. And we're going to start with all the books that we read in 2025. You might be familiar, if you listened along with us.
You should be.
Yeah. And we're going to be kind of just ranking these on like vibes, how overall we feel about the books, whatever criteria we kind of want to do. There are no rules to this. It's our podcast.
Right.
And so we're going to together put a book into one of the 5 previously decided categories using some of our favorite quotes from the past year on the podcast.
Ta-da!
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with these quotes, feel free to check out the Read Receipts 2025 compilation video to refamiliar
I think
yourself.
they're all in there.
Yes, they are.
So yeah, feel free to check out that if you don't want to go through every single episode. Or you know what? Go through every single episode for the context.
Yeah.
Why not?
Let's go ahead and start with our top tier category. Sam, do you want to talk about Sweet Baby Cigarette?
Yes, of course, Sweet Baby Cigarette. Sweet Baby Cigarette from our first off-the-shelf episode from 2025, a full year ago, when we did our Hear Me Out cake and both just fell in love with Sweet Baby Cigarette.
Yeah.
And Sweet Baby Cigarette has been just so close to our hearts ever since. So of course, Sweet Baby Cigarette has to be the best of the best top tier books of 2025.
Yes.
This is our top category. So all of the books that we just absolutely loved and absolutely vibed with will be going in the Sweet Baby Cigarette category.
Yeah. These are like the no notes, absolutely love, like can do no wrong. It's a Sweet Baby Cigarette.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Following Sweet Baby Cigarette, our next category down is going to be the hard smash. Carly, would you like to explain the hard smash?
Yes, hard smash is...
That was it?
Yeah. Hard smash basically is like, we loved it. We loved it. We loved it. It maybe is one of those things where, if you're thinking about how you might rate a book on Goodreads, it might be kind of that 4-star of like, I really loved it. Maybe there's some things here and there that I might change, or for whatever reason, it's like, I'm not going to put it in the penultimate category, but still really good books, still love it, would smash.
Hard smash.
Hard smash. Going down to our next line, we have, If I'm Naked Already.
I mean, if I'm already there.
If I'm already there. So this one is kind of like, I'm reading it, and if I'm already naked.
If I'm already here.
Yeah. It's kind of like,
I might as well bone.
Yeah, might as well bone. So it's kind of like that mid-tier of like, it's like, it's okay. It's maybe not the best, but like, I'm still gonna finish it. I'm still gonna read it.
Yes.
Like, I'm vibing. Yeah. But like,
I'm gonna read the book. It's not a DNF. I'm gonna get through it.
Yeah.
I'm already here.
I'm already here. I'm already naked. All right.
Then our second to last, I guess, Wink.
This is a special category, but kind of more of our bottom tier, you could say.
Yes. Our more bottom tier category is going to be put those clothes back on.
To go in conjunction with If I'm Naked Already.
Yes. We want those clothes back on. We didn't quite vibe with this book, and we don't really want to be naked here.
Yeah, we don't want to be naked. And if you're naked, don't be.
Don't be. Put those clothes back on.
Put those clothes back on.
And of course, we've got, like Carly said, our super secret special last category. Who put Taylor Lautner in here?
Self-explanatory.
Yeah, no notes there.
No further introduction. All right. So with that, do you want to start us off and pick out, we're going to do this kind of randomly, pick out our books that we read from the previous year, and then we'll discuss and decide which category we want to put them in?
100%. Let's go with this one.
Ooh,
We have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab.
Man, this is already a hard one in my mind.
Okay, why don't we go through what we remember about this book for our podcast listeners?
I remember that it was long. And
Okay.
I remember that I kind of... Okay, so to recap on exactly what we kind of felt going into it, we thought that we were walking into like a fantasy genre book. This is really more like a lit fic book. And so because of that, we did have a bit of a disparity in what we were hoping for versus what we got. And I think that did kind of affect our enjoyment of the book. It was still like, I mean, I think there's no denying that like it's a good book as far as like well written and stuff like that and well thought out. But I just wanted more from it.
Yeah.
And I didn't find it to be the most like entertaining, and that is kind of what I personally go for when I read. Like, it doesn't have to be, because obviously there's some others here that do have like very heavy themes and stuff like that I do really enjoy. But I personally would put it kind of in the bottom half, I think, for me. How do you feel?
I would personally put it in If I'm Naked Already.
Yeah, I could get behind that.
And I agree with pretty much everything you said. I think the biggest thing was that we expected a lot more like fantasy and a lot more plot and a lot more narrative in the story versus what we got, which was the fact that it was just a lot more literary, which, like you said, wasn't ever a bad thing necessarily, but not really ever something that we expected, which meant that when we were reading the book, it did go a little bit slower, and it was a lot harder, I think, to stay focused in certain parts of the book because we were reading something that we didn't expect to get.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to go ahead and just stick it right there in the If I'm Naked Already category.
Welcome to the club. All right. Let's see what this next one is. We are talking about Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins.
Ooh.
This one's easy for me. This is a sweet baby cigarette of a book.
This is a sweet baby cigarette of a book.
Truly, like, I mean, there might be notes, but it's like so tiny of notes that it's like, it's not a big deal to me.
I mean, already I think we went into this one kind of like talking about how we felt going into The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I think we went into Sunrise on the Reaping expecting a lot as well because it is the next installment in this big like Hunger Games universe by Suzanne Collins. And she definitely didn't disappoint with like the story that we got. We got everything that we were looking for with Haymitch's story, his background, his games, and even like a glimpse into what his future was going to look like from what we know him to be like in the Hunger Games series. I think we got some really good tie-ins as well. You know, some characters that we recognize from the original Hunger Games trilogy in this sort of prequel book. So that was also really fun. And then like with all of the Suzanne Collins books that I read at least, and all the Hunger Games books, it was extremely well written, you know? The plot was very beginning, middle, end, like everything made sense. There weren't really any loose ends. So overall, it was easy to enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. Well thought out themes, really well done in general. And I do think also it does help a little bit that Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, her previous book about snow, a lot of people didn't exactly vibe with. Like, there's definitely, again, it's well written. Like, I think it's still a good book, but I think that because of those maybe lower expectations, this really like cleared the bar of like meeting our expectations and beyond. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get our first one in Sweet Baby Cigarette category.
We've got a pretty good range here so far with just 2 books.
Let's see what happens next.
Next we've got, oh, Carly, you have to read this one.
The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides.
The British accent makes a return.
Yeah. We're still, I looked up his name and I'm like, I'm not exactly sure that's how you say it.
Hey, at least you looked it up this time.
I tried. I really tried. I've since looked up Ashley Boston's name, but I don't remember which one it is. We'll figure it out.
We'll never learn.
Figure it out, okay?
Okay, how did we feel about this one?
Okay. I did enjoy the book. It does have its problems. This is kind of a hard one. I would put it somewhere in the middle, like maybe between Hard Smash and If I'm Naked Already. I know that you probably would be a little bit anti-Hard Smash, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, like, the middle, I feel like, has such a big gap between it.
Yeah.
You know, between Hard Smash and between If I'm Naked Already.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like there's such a huge gap there that it's hard to say what a middle tier book is exactly, you know?
Yeah, honestly, the more I think about it and the more of like what books I might also put in Hard Smash, I'm already like, I don't think I want it in Hard Smash. I think I want it to be lower. But should we go as low as Put Those Clothes Back On?
I don't necessarily think it's Put Those Clothes Back On. Because like you said, I did enjoy the book. I liked the, like thriller, almost sort of mystery aspect of it. And I do like that you kind of had to guess, who the bad guy was and if we could trust the main character as he was telling us all of these things that were going on in the context of the book. I did like that aspect. I think just the delivery I'm assuming the both of us missed the mark a little bit and left us with more confusion than it did with, I guess, admiration for how it was executed.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, I think that's a fair If I'm Naked Already then.
2 for If I'm Naked Already.
Man, we're about to have an orgy in here.
I know. Let's pick out our next one.
I'm really trying to go random here. Oh, I picked 2. All right. We have Everyone Is Watching by Heather Gudenkopf.
Oh man, speaking of an orgy.
Another thriller. Another interesting book.
Yeah.
Man. Okay, here's one thing I will say about this book. Even though we had some problems with this book, I still enjoyed myself while I was reading it.
Yeah.
Like, I had fun.
I had fun post reading it. I think talking about it and talking about how kind of like ridiculous some of the characters were, about how like some of the plot points were a little bit unexpected, about how whether or not we would ever find ourselves in this situation, I think that's what I had the most fun with this book.
That's true. Yeah, I think talking about it was a lot of fun. I remember really enjoying recording that episode.
Yeah.
Should we tell them to put their clothes back on?
I am good with either Put Those Clothes Back On or If I'm Naked Already.
My fear is that we're not going to have anything and Put Those Clothes Back On because we're always going to find...
Oh, I've got some things for Put Those Clothes Back On. We can put it in Put Those Clothes Back On, though, because, did I like it better than Addie LaRue or Silent Patient? No.
Yeah. Fair.
So.
I think it can be the front of the line for Put Those Clothes Back On, but I think it's fair that it's like, it's really close because we did have some fun, but...
And we did finish it. There weren't really any DNFs this year, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Hang in there, little guy. You'll have some company.
Oh, you'll have some company. Next, we have When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker.
God, this is really a book that I have no idea where I
This
want
is really a book that we have no idea where we want this, because not only was this our first book of the year, but what do you even really remember about this book?
Good question. I remember that there were dragons in it.
Yes.
I remember that there's the other, who in my opinion is Slatra.
Right.
I remember Slatra's name.
I remember Kalis, obviously.
And then there was Brave and Khan.
Yeah.
And I think those were all the characters.
Yeah.
It was just a very slow-paced book, I feel like, for fantasy. Like, and especially for how much information we got. Like, it's 600-ish pages, and, like, not a whole lot happens in it. Not as much as we thought was going to happen. It's so hard because I do feel like there is, like, a bit of nostalgia for, like, it was our first book.
Yes,
like,
it was our first.
There is something to that.
There's something special about your first.
Yeah. How do you feel? Do you agree with that?
I feel honestly pretty good about this book. Like, it was very long and there was a lot to sort of digest with it. But overall, I really think that was mostly just like the world building. Like, there was so much going on and there was so much being set up for what I think are, you know, maybe several future books. We know that there's at least one, you know, sequel to this book. So I really, honestly, overall enjoyed it.
Okay.
I really did like it. I think it was long, but I think it was very fantasy. And it was also very romance at the same time.
Yeah.
I think you really got the ultimate of both worlds with this book.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I loved it, and I don't know that I would necessarily read it again, but I would be interested in, you know, reading the sequels
Right.
and diving deeper into the characters for what the sequels might offer for that sort of thing.
Right. Like, I'm pretty invested to see where things go from here.
Yes.
And I do think it does get a little bit of bonus points for being a fantasy. So, like, it does also have that going for it. I don't know. I'm like, I could be okay with a hard smash, I think, for it.
I don't know. Talking about firsts, I think maybe this one could be our first hard smash.
I agree. Smash it. Okay. Let's see.
Let's
Who's
see
gonna come next.
who's joining whose company.
There we go. Ooh, Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry.
Oh.
This was another book that I thought was a lot of fun to talk about. We got some boning.
Yes, we got a lot of boning with this one. This one's our first like soul romance book that
Yes.
we're putting up here.
It's also the origin of If I'm Naked Already.
That's true.
itself.
The quote itself.
So, bonus points there. I remember really liking this book. Like, now that I've read a lot more of Emily Henry, if I were to put it in somewhere in the Emily Henry world, it maybe doesn't rank the highest, but still, as a book, I really liked it. I think I'd be willing to give this a hard smash.
I also really liked it. I was slightly disappointed with the fact that it wasn't really that much of a romance to me. I felt like it was more about Margaret and her life and, you know, these two young writers that are trying to essentially make a name for themselves, like telling this scandalous yet sweet story of her life, which again isn't necessarily a bad thing. And the way that Emily Henry wrote it was very easy to read. It's just not what I expected. I think for me, I would be okay with putting it at a hard smash. It's like the lower end of a hard smash for me, but I think it would still fit into that category.
Okay, let's do hard smash then.
All right.
Okay, we're filling up.
Next, we have, I think a fan favorite, at least the series is, Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros.
Okay, so this is an interesting one because we did talk about how, of the books in the series, this was kind of our least favorite one so far.
Yes.
I will say, whenever the graphic audio came out for this book, I listened to it, and it did make me like the book a little bit more. I did like it the second time around. So I think, even though like it has kind of its like slow moments and moments where it's like not the most exciting or just not what exactly I wanted, I think I would still give it a hard smash.
I would give it a hard smash.
Yeah.
I think it's just unfortunately a middle book.
Yeah.
I think it's just unfortunately a middle child suffers from the middle child syndrome.
Yes.
Of, you know, it's not quite as brand new as a first book, and it's not quite as beloved as a last book. Mm-hmm. You know, it unfortunately has to follow some pretty big footsteps and then also work as sort of a bridge for what is going to be closing out the series.
Right.
You know, our big climactic end to such a big series in the Romantasy universe. So I think it wasn't a bad book. It was at times kind of confusing to read, and that ending was very like, what is going on? And that made it, unfortunately, our least favorite of this series. But I don't think that it was a bad book. And overall, thinking about, you know, all of the books that we've covered this year, I think it's a solid hard smash.
Yeah.
Hard smash.
Hard smash. All right. Our next one is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley.
Ashley. By Ashley.
By our girl Ashley.
Wow, I honestly think we're taking a bit of a turn here in the second half of the rankings. I feel like in the beginning we were more so putting things towards like the bottom of our list, but I loved this book.
I agree. This was a standout book to me.
This was a standout book to me. I think every aspect of the book was just so engaging and interesting, and yet the book still managed to dive into some pretty like heavier themes of, you know, grief and loss, and then also like discovering yourself and how much of yourself like changes over the course of, you know, 7 years.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. It covered all of those things while still being kind of a feel-good book. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny that, like, you know, something that's kind of happened on this podcast is that we talk a lot about boning. And it's like, they bone in this book, but you forget that it even happens because it's like everything else about it is so good. It's like, who even cares that they bone?
Which is crazy for us to say.
Crazy to say. Who cares?
Who cares about boning?
Normally not us, but... Or wait, is it the other way? Hold on.
Normally us.
Normally us. But this time...
Normally us.
We want them to fall in love.
Yes. I mean, and still bone. But
they can bone too. But
they can do both.
They need to be in love. So yeah, I think it's a Sweet Baby Cigarette.
It's for sure a Sweet Baby Cigarette.
Yes.
Very nice.
Very nice. Okay.
Ooh, we're finishing out our list here. We've only got a couple of books left. Oh, this one's going to be a good one. Twilight by Stephenie Meyer.
Well, in case anyone wasn't sure what category this was going to go in, who put Taylor Lautner in here? You know, Twilight's just such a, like, it's its own category.
It's its own category. It's its own kind of book, honestly.
It is a generation-defining book.
Yeah.
You can't say it's bad or good. It just is.
It just is. I mean, genuinely, I think everybody could say Sweet Baby Cigarette things about it or Put Those Clothes Back On things about it. It really is its own kind of story.
Yes, agreed. Need I say more?
No notes.
No notes. All right. Next, we have Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. This is a book, it's a thriller book that I think we both really enjoyed.
I really liked it.
Yeah, I think of our sort of thrillery type stuff, this was our favorite. Just really engaging and interesting and fun. I don't know.
I think it was also very interesting because it was like a podcast within a book that we covered within our podcast. You know, there was a little bit of like podception there, which was really fun for us. Mm-hmm. I also think that, you know, there were some moments that were hard to follow because of the way that it was structured. There were some podcast interviews that were a little bit hard to follow that our characters were like going through, and some of the characters, like very minimal side characters that were sort of affecting the story as a whole, that were being featured in the book because they were being featured on the podcast in the book.
Yes.
Like a lot of that was a little bit confusing, but I think overall, once you like finish the book and kind of look back on the story, it starts to come together a little bit. I do kind of just wish that it was easier to understand as you were reading the book. But other than that, I mean, like you said, I think we both really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I think this is a hard smash.
I would smash.
Smash.
And then we've got our last book, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of which one is left.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, I remember.
what a book to end this on. Left of Forever by Tara DeWitt.
Yes. This was a book.
Period.
Period. I was going to say more, but I was like, this was a book.
This was a book. It was.
It was a book. You know, it's crazy because people did bone.
There was quite a few
Quite a bit of boning.
boning moments here.
Yeah. I mean, look at that cover. They're
Yeah.
practically boning.
They're
right there.
practically boning.
But despite that, not much there for us in our opinions. We just didn't love it.
We didn't love it. I mean, like we said, you know, we didn't DNF. We read all of the books this year. But really, there were definitely some moments that I thought, these clothes need to come back on.
Yeah. You need to put your clothes back on. Sorry. Womp womp. All right. I feel pretty good about that. I think that's fair. I think that's generous. Everyone's got a partner in their own category,
Well,
except for Twilight.
but they don't need one.
They don't need one. They'll get one later, probably. Let us know in the comments if you have any hard disagreements of where you thought these books should have landed. But yeah, I say that's our year. I mean, and you could tell based on how many are in this hard smash category, we still overall had a really good year.
We overall had a really good year. I mean, even in the ones that are the If I'm Naked Already category, like we still had a pretty fun time, you know, dissecting those stories at the very least.
Yeah, we're always going to make it fun.
Yeah.
So,
What a year.
what a year. What a hard smash of a year. Man, do you think this next year will be just as hard smash as this last one?
I mean, I hope so. Let's find out.
Board change, post-editing.
Ta-da! Board change!
Board change! Look at
Reader
that
seats.
Beautiful artwork. And
2026 vision board.
so this is the box we're working with.
Yes.
We might go outside the border.
We
We'll
have
see.
a pretty big board to work with here, but we wanted to make sure that we were keeping it kind of centralized and focused for you guys. That this right here, this is the board. This is the
board.
vision board. This is what we're putting stuff in. And what better way to start a new year than by not only talking about how the past year went, but looking forward to seeing how we can manifest all the things we want to manifest for the pod in this new year.
Yes, exactly. So even though we do have this vision board for the YouTube audience, again, kind of similar to our last one, we had a visual, but we definitely will be talking through everything that we're putting up. So that way, if you're listening audio only, you will still understand everything we're doing.
Yes, yeah, just like we did with our ranking list.
Yeah. All right. So with that, what do you want to start with?
Well, what are we thinking is our big thing for 2026 that we want to get out of the pod?
Well, I think for me personally, at the end of the day, what everything comes down to, and the reason why we kind of started this to begin with, is just having fun and enjoying two friends talking about books and having a good time. So with that, we have a little picture of us just having some fun together. And that'll be our little centerpiece.
Our
for the rest of
centerpiece
this.
for the whole vision board. It all comes back to this.
Yeah. Look at how cute we are.
Look at how cute we are.
We're on my birthday trip.
Smiles and all. Look at us.
It was really early. But we were so excited.
I think that's a great centerpiece for our 2026 vision board because I definitely think that is kind of like how this whole thing started and where everything kind of falls back on also.
Yeah.
So I like it. I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of this.
Yeah, we do have a lot of big goals, but like at the end of the day, that is all that matters.
Yes, 100%. I do think some of the other goals that we have with it being a book-based podcast are book-based goals.
Yes,
of like
naturally.
the types of books and things like that we want to cover. I think we've talked about it a little bit on the pod, but this year I think we really want to expand the genres, I guess, that we're covering, or like
Yes.
the types of books that we're covering. Because for the most part last year, we did pretty much all fiction, a lot of fantasy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. We both love fiction, we both love fantasy, but we did start to think, you know, with this being a book-based podcast and with us also trying to expand our audience a little bit, it might be a good idea to expand the books that we're covering as well. So we did also kind of come up with a rough list of different kinds of books that we want to cover.
Yes.
I think one of the biggest things that we said we wanted to try and cover this year were some nonfiction books. So we have a little nonfiction addition to our vision board here.
Which is really, for me also, like, that is a genre that I've read some, I guess. It's kind of funny because I've talked about books with my mom a little bit. She only reads nonfiction.
Oh.
And, like, I think I did read some nonfiction because I was so used to, like, that's what we would talk about.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, it feels like so far away almost of, like, I can't believe I used to read nonfiction. So I am kind of intrigued to get back into this world.
A lot of the books that I read are also fiction, and that's kind of, even when I was like a kid, that's kind of how I fell in love with reading, was mostly fiction reading. So even just like in my reading life, I guess, I haven't really read that much nonfiction.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to like dive deeper into that in this year.
Yeah, see what we can find there.
Yeah. And a little bit of like a slight Easter egg, I guess. We are covering our first nonfiction on the pod here pretty soon.
Right.
I'm going to write that in since we already know that that's happening.
Yes. We know we're reading
At
this.
least one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our manifesting is going really well for this so far.
Yes, we're doing great. We're having fun. We're reading a nonfiction.
We're reading a nonfiction. Man, it can only go up from here.
Yeah, I'm liking these odds. With that, even though this is something that kind of scares me, another genre we are looking at expanding into is some science fiction, which is a little bit of a difficult topic for me. I don't like space, and a lot of science fiction is about space. Although, you know, recently I was looking back and realized that Hunger Games technically kind of counts as a science fiction in a way. It is like, it's kind of one of those things that it's like its own thing. So even though we did cover Sunrise on the Reaping, we kind of want to get into more of like what you think of when you think of science fiction. So stay tuned for that. We're going to explore science fiction, but with the caveat, not in space.
Which is going to make my job a little bit harder, finding some nonfiction for us to kind of dive a little bit deeper into.
Yeah.
But I think we've already started talking about some of the options with science fiction that are Carly approved, you know, types of books. So stay tuned for that because we're really going to be digging deep in the science fiction category to get Carly to read a science fiction for the pod.
By the nature of it, we have to dig for it. So, yeah. All right, what else?
What other categories did we talk about covering?
We have one that it's like, we've covered it a little bit, but we're going to take it a little bit of a step further because even though we have a lot of experience reading romantasy, it is usually that romantasy version of fantasy. So this year, we're going to take it a little bit of a step further and do some true, like, high fantasy. So we got a picture here of a girl in a fantasy dress. I think we also have, we have a little crown, too.
Oh, perfect. Look at that.
Yeah. Although, straighten out, baby.
Yeah.
There we go. Perfect.
There we go. Yeah, we did talk about, now I'm remembering that we did talk about, you know, obviously we both love like fantasy, but a lot of the fantasy that we've been reading, like you said, has been romantasy or kind of like the book talk fantasy. So we were thinking like maybe we'll take this opportunity to kind of dive into where fantasy sort of originated, I guess, with, you know, high fantasy, epic fantasy, that sort of thing. It's a pretty big genre, so I'm also excited to kind of do something still within the genre, but very different.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, obviously we know that there are some aspects of this genre that we like, but it does feel a little bit like, okay, how are we gonna do in, like, a really true fantasy with, like, all the crazy world building, all of the, like, just everything going on. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
All right. So I think those are like the main genres, right, that we wanted to look into.
I think for sure that's what we talked about previously.
So with that, are there any more specific book-related things that we want to look into on the podcast this year?
I know this past year we covered some pretty good books that we talked about kind of continuing into that universe that those books originated in. Mm-hmm. Namely, a big one that we talked about was Twilight, which was kind of like a huge thing even throughout the year that we were like gearing up for covering it even before we actually covered it. So I personally think that on the vision board, we should add New Moon.
I agree.
And see if we can maybe cover New Moon or just like dive a little bit deeper into that universe. You know, I'll never say no to a sparkly vampire.
Yes. I think it's truly a matter of not if and more so when.
Yes.
When will we get to this?
Yes.
Because, I mean, let us know in the comments. Are you okay with us
Let us
waiting
know.
until like around Christmas time like we did this previous year with Twilight? Or do you want to get to it sooner? Because honestly, I would be okay with getting to it sooner. But if we like a tradition, then we can do a tradition. That's fine with me. Speaking on that, this is like a little bit different, but obviously last year we read Sunrise on the Reaping. That was a really fun and exciting experience. And so with this year, it feels even more exciting because we get this movie coming out later this year. And so I do really want to like enjoy and explore that as it comes out. I would love to do a recap on the movie, see if we have any thoughts about how that adaptation crosses over. I'd also be interested in like maybe talking a little bit about Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, since Sam hasn't read that or seen the movie. So there's definitely a lot to talk about there as a little bit of a prequel. So we have a little picture of the movie poster version of Sunrise on the Reaping here that we're also gonna talk about more to come in this year.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited to get kind of back into both of those universes because I think we both really enjoy both of those universes as well. So it's nice that, you know, it's not necessarily something that we have to leave in 2025.
Yes, there's always more. I like how it's really like both of our like obsessive topic type things.
On the topic of, I guess, like genres and book types and things like that we want to cover on the pod, I also think something that we don't necessarily have to leave in 2025 and should definitely continue exploring in 2026 is boning.
Yes. We are who we are.
We are who we are, okay?
We love to see some characters.
We love a bone.
Have some chemistry.
We love a bone.
We want to see them bone. I mean, not literally, but like in a book.
Yes, we want to experience through the book the bone.
The bone. We're all here for the bone. Don't act like you're not.
Don't act like you're not.
That's what this is for.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, on a similar vein, it's like we want them to bone. We might also want them to fall in love.
I mean, I guess
they can fall in love.
You know, if they're boning, they might as well also be in love.
They might as well fall in love. Which this also speaks to a little bit of a preview that we 100% are doing Summer of Love again this year.
Oh, 100%.
We had too much fun. We have to do it again.
We loved Summer of Love, and we know you guys love Summer of Love too. So that's definitely, this is definitely also a like representation of Summer of Love. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to write that in too.
Yes, please do. In case you can't see, as Sam's writing, she wrote Summer of Love and then, ooh.
It's all a part of Summer of Love. TM.
TM. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's ours. We came up with that.
That's ours.
And anyone tells you differently, we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited for Summer of Love. I mean, obviously it's only January, but like, Summer of Love.
Yeah.
That's a height on the podcast. That's a big deal on the pod.
Yeah. Agreed. It's hard for us to just stop at summer. Exactly. It could be all year.
It could be all year, but you know, we're taming ourselves, we're pulling ourselves back.
Yes.
I also love this idea that it's like a tradition, even though we've only done it once.
But don't worry, it will be.
But don't worry, it's a tradition.
We honestly, if we ever stop podcasting, it's like we just pop up in the summer to be like,
Summer of Love.
Summer of Love is here. And so are we. All right, perfect. I love that. So with that, I guess we can kind of get into more of like some of the things we were hoping to accomplish, I think, with the podcast.
Yes.
Some of those bigger goals.
What we want to accomplish, both in terms of, like we mentioned a little bit earlier, expanding our audience and maybe making like a real sort of career out of this as well, like more sort of success focused.
So for our first goal relating to the podcast, I think I'm going to start with doing some more collabs.
Ooh.
How will we accomplish this? We will find out.
That's a good one though.
Yeah.
We did our first collab in 2025 and that was so fun.
It was really fun.
It was
I had a great
so
time.
fun. And I think in 2026 I would love to see us do some more collabs. And I mean, it would be great to have like other book experts, either other book podcasters or maybe even authors or like bookstore owners on the pod. But I think it would also be fun to maybe have some like friends who are like experts on certain books on the pod.
Yeah, I would love that. I think the more the merrier.
Yeah, of course. I think collabs is a good one. I also think it would be great for us to find ourselves in a position where, you know, kind of like what I was saying earlier, we were making a little bit more of a career out of the podcast. So I think it would be great if we were getting maybe some more sponsorships or some like monetary donations and things like that. That way we could obviously not only keep the podcast like something fun for us to do, but even just like dedicate more time to the podcast, because I think a big thing that we just talked about as a whole when thinking about this vision board was that we want to see the podcast grow.
For sure. I mean, makes sense. Anyone who has sort of like a dream or a love, like naturally you would love to get paid to do the thing that you love to do.
Naturally.
Yeah. So if we could get paid to just talk about books,
if we could get our sponsorships dropped into us from the sky, that would be ideal, honestly.
Please sponsor us.
Please sponsor us.
So we can survive the games. I mean, what?
I mean, wait, what?
I don't know.
What?
Yeah. And along that same lines, money, please.
Money, please. That would also be just as great, honestly.
Yeah.
That would be...
We'll take some money.
We'll take some money.
Yeah.
We'll take some money.
I spend a lot of time editing these episodes.
We spend a lot of time editing these episodes. We spend a lot of time thinking about these episodes. We spend a lot of time talking about these episodes.
Reading for these episodes.
So it would be great. I mean, you know, it'd be great.
Nice. Doesn't have to happen, but it'd be nice. Just saying. We could also talk about how we want this podcast to have more chaos.
Yes.
Which I think is always a good idea. How are we going to accomplish this?
I think we were talking about that in terms of like also having fun, like being like chaotic, but like also having a good time, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's like really like a fun aspect for both of us is like when things are chaotic, it's like always just like a little bit more fun.
Yeah, for sure. When the chaos comes out, it's like, what are we even talking about anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I have the most fun. So that's my goal.
I think a good thing that we also talked about was like with like expanding our podcast was like expanding our community.
Yeah.
Like kind of what we were talking about with maybe like doing like ticketed events and things like that, or just like doing like maybe meetups or something where we are like connecting with you guys a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So we did have that as like something that we wanted for 2026 was to have a little bit more community.
Yeah. And I think another sort of like, we were trying to find a way to make this a bit of like a hard goal of like something to strive towards. And I think we did have a little bit of a goal of like trying to get 100 followers on Instagram. Was that our idea?
I think that's where we wanted to kind of start, I guess. Boop. Perfect.
100, please.
100, please.
If about 30-ish more of you could follow us on Instagram, that'd be great.
It is like a lower goal. We're pretty close to 100. Like we're not like very far away from 100, but we were thinking, you know, that would be a great goal for us to try to achieve in 2026 and like realistic enough that we should be able to get to like 100 followers and like 100 people in this little community.
Yeah. So if you happen to be listening and you aren't following us on Instagram, I mean, if you're following us on any other platform too, that's also great.
That's also great. But make sure to follow us on there because we do really want to do a lot more stuff with our social media where we are connecting with you guys a little bit more.
Right. And that just happens to be where we already have like the highest following and kind of are the most most active, so
Yeah.
it kind of works out that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So make sure to give us a follow on there because we've got some pretty fun things planned on there.
Yes,
So
very excited. And kind of on that, some of the things that we hope to do on social media more is that we want to do some more like kind of book related stuff. We want to like kind of get out there more. And so one of the things we talked about wanting to do is like some kind of book crawl. So I have a picture here of a big old bookstore, and then also I think
some books.
this is like a Barnes & Noble, I think. It's a very nice looking Barnes & Noble.
Oh, I thought it was a library.
It honestly does look like one, but I searched Barnes & Noble and that's what came up.
That looks great.
But on top of that, we also have our own personal local bookstore picture right here. So
Perfect.
Any and all.
Any and all bookstores.
We've talked about, so Sam's going to New York this year, and I was like, wait, should I come? It's like, it's her in a completely different friend group, but I'm like, should I come so that way we could do a bookstore crawl in
Should
New
we
York?
do a bookstore crawl?
New York has so many bookstores.
It
would be so
does
much
have
fun.
a lot of bookstores.
I really want to, I can't remember now what it's called. I think it's called The Ripped Bodice. That's the one that's like a romance only bookstore.
I've heard a lot about that one.
I really want to go there. And I bet they
Yeah.
got a lot of other good ones, so.
Listen, maybe follow us on Instagram and you'll have a little bit of a sneak peek. Maybe I'll take you guys with me.
Yes. Yeah, if I can't do it, Sam has to.
Yeah, I think those all also like definitely feed into like our community aspect of like, oh, like community for like the two of us and having fun. But also like I think it would be just like a fun idea to maybe like invite our community that's like here with us.
Yes, for
to like
sure.
come on a book crawl with us. Like how fun would that be if you guys got to do this with us?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what the whole point of this podcast is.
Yeah.
To have like a big book club, basically.
Yeah.
So why not do it in person?
Yeah, 100%. I think we have one more sort of picture left for our vision board. I think we sort of talked about, well, now I'm like, where do we put it?
Yeah, we're running out of space.
We're running out of
I can
space a little
move
bit.
chaos
Maybe,
up.
yeah, maybe move chaos a little bit. There.
Move it so that way.
Maybe we can put it
there.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll move chaos.
Yeah, maybe
down
move
here.
chaos down there. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, chaos by the money. That seems
That's
like a really great idea.
Yeah.
We're going to the casino.
That's how we're getting money.
That's how we're gonna do it, guys. Let's have a community event at the casino.
At the casino. Or have a community event at maybe like a bookstore and do like a ticketed event
Yes.
for like a live podcast show.
That would be fun. Or even just like, this is another thing of like just the idea of getting out there. Like I went to my first book signing related event last year and I was really surprised by how fun it was and like just how exciting it is to get to meet an author of like a book that you really enjoy. So things along those lines, or like they have those big sort of like romantasy cons in various places around the US. Like any of those things would be so fun to get to go to as well.
For sure.
And get to, again, expand the community, get to meet more people. Really want to like hone in on like enjoying our books with people.
Yeah. I think our vision board looks so good. Is there anything else we want to add onto it?
I know, I'm trying to think if there's any other. Oh, we haven't talked about like our sort of reading goal on the pod, like our numerically.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, do we have the same one? I think mine's pretty, you know.
Yeah. So last year my goal
It's here.
was 40 books. So, and to be honest, I kind of slowed down because I think because of the podcast, it is a little bit harder for me to read
Sure.
outside of the podcast. So I'm just going to inch it up by one. We're going to do 41.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 12 because I'm pretty sure on the podcast we cover roughly 11 to 12 books.
Yeah. Last year we did
So-
11. So it's like if we're doing like about once a month, it's probably about 12, maybe.
Probably about 12. Plus
Maybe a
we
little
have
more.
we have some off the shelf I read you read books.
Yes, that
here and there. I think we did 2 last year, so technically we covered 13
Yes, I didn't think about that.
books. So, yeah, I think maybe like here-ish. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Yay!
12 books.
Okay.
I think very doable for us.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can also do like
41 for
it's like
me.
a 41 in parentheses for Carly.
I'll let you know if I get there.
Yeah.
Speaking though of the 12 book sort of goal, so I did this last year on Storygraph, but if anyone is interested in joining one of the book challenges that they have on Storygraph, I plan on making a challenge there where it's just called like Read Receipts 2026 podcast or something like that. And every time we kind of decide on books as we go, I'll add it to that challenge. So that way, if you want to sort of have that challenge of reading every book that we do on the pod, you can add it there.
Ooh, that could be a fun thing. Maybe at the end of the year we revisit that. Maybe you'll get some sort of prize from us.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's early in the year, so can't
might
promise
be
anything, but we'll see.
a high five.
We'll see. Do you want to tell our readers a little bit more about Storygraph as well, just in case they don't have a Storygraph or don't know what that is?
Yes, Storygraph is very similar to like Goodreads if you're familiar with Goodreads. It's kind of a good alternative, especially if you're someone who like doesn't really want to support Amazon. Obviously, like Goodreads is very like a lot of people have it, so it's understandable if that's the one that you jump to. But one thing I really like about Storygraph is that it has so much more fun data. Like it has all these fun graphs and stuff like that. Like if you like the sort of year-end recap to Spotify and all that sort of stuff, they have that year-round that you can enjoy and look at. And I think it's really fun community-wise. You can do like buddy reads. That's oftentimes how we kind of do notes for our books, is using the buddy reads and all sorts of things like that. It's a really fun tool. It really offers a lot more. So like if you really like Goodreads, I highly recommend jumping over to Storygraph because there's a lot more to it there. But
And then obviously
yeah.
we're on there. And also Storygraph, if you're listening, we would love to be sponsored by you.
you could be the one.
You could be the one. I think this looks great. I think we've got a really exciting year ahead of us.
Yeah, me too. Hold on. One more. Heart.
Heart.
Because love.
Because love. I
guess we already have a heart.
Because love.
But hold
maybe
on.
just, maybe just,
A couple hearts.
just like here and there. Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
These
Beautiful.
aren't my best hearts. But,
Yeah.
you know, writing on
You
a
get
whiteboard
it. You
is
get it.
Okay. You try and write on a whiteboard.
You guys get it.
That's a really ugly one.
Beautiful.
Get it. We love love.
We love love.
Yes.
And we love Read Receipts, and we're glad that you guys do too.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We'll see. Maybe we can do like a little bit of another year-end recap to see how we did.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't be more nostalgic about 2025 Read Receipts and more excited about 2026 Read Receipts than I am right now.
I know exactly how you feel. And with that, we are already, like we mentioned earlier, accomplishing one of our goals for this vision board, because in our next book club episode, we are going to be talking about the nonfiction book, Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton.
So make sure to stay tuned on Tuesday, February 10th for that love-like episode. Ooh! That was a little sneak peek for our Summer of Love friends. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of our hit podcast, Read Receipts by Carly and Sam. All of the content that you hear in this episode was curated, recorded, and edited by us truly, with special thanks to the authors of the books that we cover and Pixabay for the music that we play. Also, Bridget for this whiteboard and Carly's printer for printing out all of our pictures.
Yes, thank you. That ink held up.
Make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you like to listen. We're on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts, so hop onto any one of those platforms to listen to us anytime you like. And in between podcast episodes, make sure to follow us on social media at The Read Receipts Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We love to see you guys follow along with that, and it would help us reach our community goal and 100 followers goal for 2026. So make sure to do that as well. Until our next read, bye!